Welcome in.
Welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to talk about
Take it away.
how we plan on budget traveling through South America for a year. Essentially, we are planning on living off of like $55 a day between the both of us. So that's pretty tight of a budget. But we wanted to share with you guys all the ways that we plan on saving money throughout this trip.
If you're planning on traveling or want to travel or have thought about traveling and just think it's a lot of money, we want to go over with you how we plan it out. That way you can maybe come up with some ideas of your own or utilize the same kind of resources that we have.
We also want to kind of break the stigma that travel has to be super expensive, because there are definitely ways that you can travel for cheap and keep it affordable and budget friendly.
We want to create a lifestyle around traveling versus working a whole year and then having a 2-week vacation.
We want to make travel a part of our lifestyles. We don't want it to be something that we can only experience once in a while. We want to be able to incorporate it into our everyday life. With that being said, the first thing that we want to talk about is accommodations.
Yes.
Accommodations can take up like a lot of your budget. That's where, when we traveled to Europe, that was where like the majority of our money went, was towards hostels. And even booking cheap hostels can end up being really expensive. So we wanted to go into a few ways that you can stay for free when you are traveling. The first one, we'll talk about work exchange. Work exchange is essentially where you go and you work, and then they provide you with a place to stay for free. The main work exchange programs that we're aware of is called WWOOFing. It's actually WWOOF, Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. So WWOOFing is specifically for organic farms. I know that there's a couple more organizations out there, but that's a great way to get started if you want to find a place to stay for free just in exchange for some work. And I know typically it's not going to be like a full-time job. It's typically like part-time work throughout the day, and you can experience the place that you're traveling on the weekends and at night.
If you're looking to experience the culture in the country that you're going to, really get to know the people and find a wholesome experience and learn how to live sustainably, I think WWOOFing is a really great opportunity to go into. And we've been talking about it a lot, so probably in the future we'll be experiencing that.
Let's talk a little bit about the volunteering, because there's the working for stay and then there's the volunteering for stay.
We have done some research on some eco lodges, because eco lodges are big out in the Amazon. There's some that actually let you volunteer.
We actually stumbled upon the volunteer opportunity by somebody that we knew who had worked in Ecuador. And they pointed out that they have a volunteer opportunity at one of the eco lodges. There's a lot of different ways that you can volunteer. The first one was working in exchange for a place to stay. The second was volunteering for a place to stay. And the third one is couch surfing, which there's an actual app for that, right?
Couch surfing is a really big way to budget travel. People open their doors for you and they have like either an extra spare room or couch. It's really like the most budget-friendly way to travel and a way to meet people. You
don't have to work in exchange. This is just people who are willing to open their doors to travelers and let them stay for a few nights if they're passing through. I am not super familiar with the app, but you can check reviews, see what other travelers have said about the space. That's something that you're comfortable with doing.
I think our main go-to is going to be hostels and then the volunteer programs.
When we're in Ecuador, we plan on doing a volunteer program where we get to stay. We'll be at the Eco Lodge for a few weeks, helping them translate Spanish to English to the visitors. We're also going to be doing a few cheap hostels, dorm room style, so we found the cheapest rooms that we could.
I think that's the one that most people think of when they think about budget traveling, is hostels, right?
And we're also planning on doing the fourth budget travel accommodation option, which is house sitting. And there are multiple different websites that you can look up in order to house sit. You can either house sit or pet sit, but the website that we're going to go through is called housesitters.com. I'll have to double check that information, but essentially
right here.
essentially you look up a place that you want to stay, and then
People will post their houses as listings and say when they're going to be gone and how long for, and you can technically put in an application for them. They get to know you, you get to know them, what they need taken care of. Sometimes it's dogs, sometimes it's cats, plants.
It's based on kind of like your reviews. You do have to pay a monthly subscription, or you can do an annual subscription for the house sitting thing.
The next one we have to talk about is our food. How are we going to pay for food? What kind of food are we going to eat? Yeah, that's another big one other than accommodations. When it comes to food, since we are budget traveling and we're living off around $55 a day, we're going to mostly be eating street food. Now this is when we're living in hostels. You usually can't cook in hostels. There are some with the community kitchen, so check it out and see which one you're going for. However, if you cannot cook, local street food is a really great option.
Then when we go to the volunteer exchange program at the Eco Lodge, they provide food for us. So we'll be saving money on accommodations and food. When we house it, we're gonna actually utilize the markets, because making your own food and going to the grocery store is a great way to save on money, and so that's how we plan on doing it. But of course, we're gonna be switching it up. All of these ways are cheap depending on just what we're doing and kind of like our circumstances.
The next one we have here now is going to be transportation. We are going to be utilizing public transportation as much as possible. When you're living on a budget, public transportation is the best way to go. I know that South America has great public transportation when it comes down to it. You can go from Quito all the way down in Peru, and there's buses that'll take you everywhere.
We're definitely going to be taking public transportation and walking.
Making my way downtown.
Yeah, that's a big one.
When we're in the city, we'll definitely be walking a lot, but other than that, when we're doing city to city, we'll definitely be taking public transportation, because typically it's a few dollars or less just to get to one place or the other.
Biggest things when it comes to budget traveling, the accommodations, that's going to take up a lot of your expenses, as well as the food, and then you got to figure out your transportation. Maybe you want to plan around some specific attractions. Like, I know we're definitely planning on going to Machu Picchu, so we're going to do the 4-day, 3-night hike, and then after that we might end up stopping at Lake Titicaca and crossing over into Bolivia a little bit before we go down to Chile and then Argentina. But I'm sure there's a lot to do, and there's a lot of things that are going to be exciting. Pick out the best ones that align with you. Guarantee everything's going to be an awesome experience. So it's going to be hard to not go over the budget, I think, but that is really the intention when it comes down to it.
When you want to think about doing these big attractions, we've picked out a few that really stand out to us, and we've been able to base our budget according to that. We want to hike up Machu Picchu. That's like a non-negotiable for us. So we're gonna spend maybe a month house sitting so that we don't have to pay for any accommodations. So there's ways that we're making up for it. We can still kind of have that money to spend on these great attractions, but there are ways that we can also save. So it's just kind of finding the balance between figuring out what you want to do, but also being strategic in the ways that you can save money so that you're not completely breaking the bank.
The volunteer programs, the house sitting, all of that can stretch out your money. The more volunteer programs you do, the more you get to meet the people, understand the culture, and really dive deep into creating those relationships. The idea is to stretch out the money as much as you can and try not to spend every day, but food, accommodations, and travel are going to be the biggest ones.
And of course, you're still traveling, so it's important to do the things that you want to do, but it's just essentially about being conscious about your budget. The last thing that I do want to touch on is another way that you can stretch out your travel is to create passive income for yourself. And
Absolutely.
This looks different for everybody. We plan on monetizing our businesses while we go abroad to hopefully bring in some income, so we're not only spending but we're also accumulating. So some of the ways that we're gaining passive income is through my travel blog, through affiliate income, so recommending products that I believe, trust, and love. We also really are hoping to grow our YouTube channel. Of course, we're not there yet right now, but we continue to hope to grow. We're really just appreciative for everybody that watches our content, and there are some other things that we have in store, but those are the main ways that we are planning on monetizing and bringing money in. So if you can do that, if you have any interest in ways that you can make money, you can also get strategic, but that's a great way to also stretch out your travel.
Lifestyle Travelers merch coming soon. Creating life around your travels. Let us know what you thought in the comments down below. Give us maybe some pointers, or people listening some pointers. That way, you know, we can share knowledge here, because that's really what it comes down to when you're traveling. Sharing knowledge, sharing stories, sharing experiences, and working all together as a community, because biggest thing when it comes down to it is human connection and experiencing new things.
Also, if there's any kind of content that you want to see us posting, please let us know in the comments below what kind of content you're interested in learning about. Really, we're just curious to hear what you guys are interested in watching.
And maybe places to travel to.
All the recommendations are welcome.
You can see one of our videos where we actually go through the whole finances of our Europe trip for 2 weeks. It's pretty awesome. Check it out. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining us for another Lifestyle Travelers video. We will see you guys next time.